In this video, we are going to talk about friction. So let's begin. Friction occurs as the resistance to the relative motion of two solid bodies. It always works opposite to the motion of the body. Frictional forces are also helpful for us in walking on the surface. Otherwise, in most situations, it's impossible to walk without friction. In other words, we can say that if a body is moving, then there will be a frictional force acting opposite to the direction of the motion of the body. And always remember that frictional force is helpful for us to walk on the surface. Thus, the frictional force is defined as F friction is equal to mu times N, where mu is the coefficient of friction and N is the normal force acting perpendicular to the surface of the body. Now, there are two types of friction that we have to consider. So the first type of friction is known as static friction, and the static friction is defined as F of S is equal to mu s times N, where mu s is the coefficient of static friction and N is known as the normal force. The static friction works between two bodies when you try to apply a force and the body is resisting the motion. Basically, when you apply a force, there will be a static friction because you are applying a force but the body is not moving, because body is applying a frictional force opposite to the direction of the motion, and body doesn't want to change its position because of inertia. So at that moment, whatever frictional force are acting between two surfaces, that frictional force is known as static friction. The second type of frictional force is known as kinetic friction and is defined as F of k is equal to mu k times N, where mu k is the coefficient of kinetic friction and N is the normal force. And remember that the kinetic friction works when a body is moving. So basically, the frictional force changes from static friction to kinetic friction as soon as the body started moving. And this is how we will define the friction.